Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Harry from Hotspur TV, and today we'll do another episode of Fixing Tottenham. And today is about the inverted fullbacks. As you know, in the new system, Hand shows his fullbacks to come inside, and the wingers are meant to go very, very, very wide, which is actually kind of the opposite of what Conte did last season. Now, if we look at it, Porro starts on the weekend, which is very interesting. And a lot of fans like myself would have expected Porro to play actually further wide than Deki or Kulusevski, however you want to take his name. But yeah, it was kind of the opposite. Porro was kind of playing the same position that Emerson was playing in the last game, where Emerson was coming inside, where obviously he scored his goal. And Porro, I felt like this system actually utilised Porro very well. And the reason I did this video is kind of like a sequel to the last one, because I spoke a lot about Porro. And Porro was surprisingly actually very good at right back. And I think that this system, it might actually work playing at right back, because he can do more attacking at the same time, because obviously Sarr was playing, right? And we seem to have just a bit more legs rather than when Skip wasn't playing. And Sarr, you know, he played across the line really, and I think he kind of covered the vacated spots that Porro went when Porro went in. And the reason I bring this up is because Sarr made like a couple tackles on the right hand side actually, when Porro was going up, and that's a very good tackle actually as well. I spoke about Sarr actually on the last podcast a lot, because obviously he did score the goal, and we did how we beat Man United. But I think the system also is interesting with Udogie, because Udogie has spent the past 2-3 years playing as a wing back in Italy, and he's one of the players who, again, I was quite worried coming in just as a left back in a back four, but he has obviously shades of Danny Rose. A lot of people mention this, and I think even he's kind of benefiting from this inverted fullback system. And I think a lot of modern sides are doing this. If you look at Arsenal with Zinchenko is almost playing as a midfielder. And I do think, apart from that, we have three in midfield now, which has, to me, changed the dynamic of the whole team, and which has kind of led to our early success, if you want to use that word, or early win and draw at Brentford. Porro and Udogie coming inside has actually created like a 5-man midfield, and obviously that's what, ironically, what's his name, Conte was trying to do in some ways, but in this way it seems to work better. And sometimes with Porro comes in we have a 4, and then if they both come in we have a 5, and if not we have a 3 anyway, to deal with the 2 or 3 of the other opposing team. And I do think these overloads in midfield has created, in fact, actually more space for the other the likes of Kulusevski and Son, who I do think should be doing a lot better where they are. And I do think, like I said, Kulusevski, I think should move it back into the middle. I don't think he should be playing on the right in this system. But with all those players in the middle and midfield, you create overloads inside. I know it's ironic to say that. And what it is, it congests the middle, and that causes, more space on the wings. And obviously, if we can fix the front three, and you have Kulusevski playing further wide and actually putting crosses in like Perisic does when he comes on, and Son actually putting crosses rather than keep coming inside, which is kind of the problem I think right now, then maybe we could have more success. But I think it's very interesting that he's using the fullbacks in this sort of way, and I think it's like a trend now. Like as I mentioned, Zinchenko, I'm sure I've seen Man City do it. I haven't really seen United do it, obviously against us. Like City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Trent almost plays as a midfielder anyway, and I've seen Liverpool fans who I do, other streams with, mention that Arnold should actually literally move into midfield. So this seems to be some sort of trend, and Ange's following it. Inverted fullbacks, and we'll see how it goes with our team. But in order for this to work, just to end this video, the wide players, Kulusevski and Son right now, because they are the wide players, they need to be using, in Deki's case, his right foot, because he's playing on the right, and in Son's case, his left foot, and actually putting balls in, because right now Richardson's starving for goals. He's barely had any chances, to be honest. And the whole point of, like I said, the inverted fullbacks is to cause congestion in the middle and pull a lot of the other players on the opposition side into the inside because they're going to have to cover, and then it causes the wide areas to actually be more free. And yeah, it's successful so far. And obviously, touching for the end of this video on Porro even more, it worked for him, and it's obviously worked for Adoji. He's settled into that place in the system that we play quite easily. But it's like the opposite of Conte, which is ironic in so many ways. But yeah, and this is just my video on inverted fullbacks, and I do think this is something that's going to carry on throughout Ange's tenure. And we've seen some success with it so far, so let's hope it carries on.